What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to UFC Vegas 46 Best Bet. We're going to give the best bet for each and every single fight on the card. First card of the year, really looking forward to it. I know it's only 10 fights, but I feel like there are going to be some bangers in here. So I do want to, bring on the guest here. And Eric, we'll start with you. Eric, brand new to the show, brand new to content creation in general. Kind of introduce yourself, and are you looking forward to the card?
Man, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm just excited for this break to be over and that we finally got some fights back. For those of you who don't know me, obviously I'm Eric Bets Fights. You can see on the screen there. I've been an MMA fan for a long time. I've been betting fights casually for a long time, but I just started getting serious about tape study and tracking bets and content creation and that sort of thing just a few months ago. So pretty new to the game, but really happy to be here. It's not a barn burner of a card necessarily, but there's definitely some good fights here that are going to be a lot of fun, I think, and hopefully some sneaky good bets too.
Let's get it. All right. Yeah, nice to have you on, Eric. It's going to be a fun year with you on here. We have Z making a short notice replacement for Narco Cop. Narco is out. He is sick. Z, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, no problem. Hope Narco Cop feels better. Shout out again to Narco Cop for letting me know who Anvar was. That was a nice way to start off LFA. I'm excited to kick off the year. Of course, I'm back in the square hat because despite this being the first UFC card of the year, I found a way to lose nearly $500 already, but we got a chance to make that back tonight, so let's get after it.
Time to get it back. Let's do it. And then we have everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Weezy. What is up? You looking forward to this card?
I am, man. I'm looking forward to watching it a little more than betting it. I think all of us this week in particular have overanalyzed this card because it's been 4 weeks coming. We've listened to everybody else's content. We've made our own picks, and we've been going over and over and over it again. And here we are. We're finally an hour away. Can't wait to talk about all the best bets on these fights. So let's do it. Let's get into it, man.
Let's do it. 10 fights, and I'm with you. I mean, I don't think this card is the best for betting. I'm just glad we have fights. I do want to shout out the chat before we get started. If you guys can all please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Saturday, 1 hour prior to when the prelims start. First one in the chat is Raw Torque. Shout out to you being the first one saying, what's good, fellas? We have Hype MMA. We have William Productions. We have Robbie in the chat. We have Daz, Loomis, Voodoo, Bill. We have Philly Dilly. I like it. We have War Dog. We have Quaver. We have Jack Attack. Prodigy is big on Pickett, his boy. Let's see if he can get it done tonight. We'll talk about that one. We have Keel. We have Davey. Bimmer. You guys are killing in the chat already. It's hard to keep up here. We have Gold Caps. Ari. Let's see if I missed anybody. The Wise Goat hanging out as well. Belt Better. Fight Day saying Kraddy's cards. If you guys can all leave a like, that'd be much appreciated. We'll kind of talk through the chat throughout this. We have about an hour before the prelims start. We'll kick it off with the first fight of the night. We have TJ Brown going against Charles Rosa. We'll start with you, Uncle Weezy. What is your best bet for this very first fight of 2022?
Yeah, I'm not betting this fight. When I saw this come up, I was like, oh boy, now we got to hear about the Rosa win-loss thing for 11 straight fights. And here we are waiting for a Rosa win. I don't feel comfortable betting TJ Brown on a money line at, a lower than minus 200. One of the things that Brady and we kind of made each other promise that we would stop betting on low IQ fighters and we would stop betting on gassers. And I've seen Brown do both, be low IQ and gas out. I just can't lay that kind of juice on a guy like that. Rosa's a veteran. He's in a lot of close fights. And I think that these guys are actually on a pretty similar level. If it weren't for the fact that Rosa was taking this on short notice, I think this would be lined a lot closer. So that being said, I'm not betting it, but I think probably the best line to bet is just the Rosa money line at plus 190 right now on FanDuel. I think you can sprinkle it and enjoy the fight by having a little action on it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely makes sense to me. Rosa, plus 190, like you said, on FanDuel. That line is closing very, very fast. I remember a couple days ago when the fight first got announced, TJ Brown got all the way up to like minus 300. But curious to hear your thoughts on it, Eric. What do you like for this fight here?
I don't mean to piggyback here, but I have a lot of the same thoughts that Weezy has about this, actually. Yeah, I don't trust TJ Brown with my money, especially at that kind of line. Obviously, some concerns with Rosa coming in last minute here, but if I was going to bet this fight, like I think they're going to end up grappling. I think there's a good chance they're going to end up on the ground. And, assuming he doesn't gas out because of the last minute replacement thing here, I don't mind a shot on Rosa at that money line at plus 180, plus 190.
Sounds good to me. And I'm gonna pretty much agree with you guys, but there's a prop that actually really did stick out, and it's going to be Rosa by submission sitting at plus 700. The reason being is we know that Rosa is a legit black belt. TJ Brown, he has been submitted before, not only inside the UFC, but 2 times out of the UFC as well. And Uncle Weezy mentioned this guy is an absolute stunt puller. He pulled a stunt against Jordan Griffin, taking him down 7 times. He got submitted from side control. And then on top of that, he went in there against Chavez and refused to go for takedowns until like mid to late fight after his legs were already tore up. So I really question TJ Brown's fight IQ. There's no way. I saw the minus 300. I was like, there's no way I'm laying minus 300 on TJ Brown. And he's now minus 200. And still, there's no way I'm laying minus 200 on TJ Brown. I get why he's favored. There's a legit path to victory. We know how to beat Charles Rosa at this point. You take him down and you lay on him. He's going to try to throw up submissions. If he submits you, he does. If he doesn't, he probably wins a decision. So I think TJ Brown by decision is probably the most likely outcome. But, man, that Rosa by submission is juicy. So I'm going to take that for my best bet, plus 700 there. Z, you kind of thinking the same way, or do you think the chalk on Brown is warranted?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way as you guys. I just want to shout out Magic M because he's the first one that I saw highlight Rosa by sub, and that was the prop bet I was gonna take too, Brady. But I think we're all in the same boat where we see value on Rosa, but I at least I'm not very high on Rosa generally, so not somebody I'm really looking to bet on. And because it's short notice, it just adds even more question marks into the mix. But from a value perspective, I think Rosa by sub is probably your best look there. But when it's all said and done, this is a fight I'm staying very far away from because it's 2 fighters I'm not keen to bet on.
Definitely makes sense, but I'm really looking forward to this fight. We'll see if TJ Brown pulls a 3rd stunt in only 4 UFC fights. But we'll move on to the next fight here. We have Brian Kelleher going against Kevin Croom. We'll start with you, Eric. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, my tape study was pretty limited here with the replacement opponents. I did watch a little bit of tape just this morning on this. I do favor Kelleher to win here, but since the name of this show is Best Bets, we might as well get a little bit crazy. I don't think you can bet Kelleher at minus 300. I guess you could parlay him if you're confident that he's going to win, but Kevin Croom by KO is plus 700. Plus 700. I'm not saying I'm going to bet that, but we'll just say that since Narco Cop wasn't here, I'm doing, in honor of him, I'm throwing out a Lambo play for this one. So Kevin Croom by KO plus 700. Ooh, sprinkle it. Why not? Have some fun.
I like it. Hot take there. We'll see if Weezy, you have the same thoughts. Do you think Croom has a chance to fall off the upside here?
No, I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to say I like Kelleher inside the distance at plus 100. Brian has finished 5 of his 7 UFC wins inside the distance, which is pretty much almost on par with his outside the UFC finish rate as well. And Croom has actually been finishing more than half of his 13 pro losses. 8 of those 13 pro losses have come inside the distance. You add in the fact that, Kelleher is being given over a 75% chance to win this fight by the bookies, and that Croom is taking this fight on less than a week's notice. As a matter of fact, it's like 4 days notice, maybe even 3. So very, very short notice. In addition to that, we all know how much Kelleher hates cutting weight. Well, this got bumped back up to 145, so he didn't have to go all the way down to 135, something that has drained him in the past. I think that's going to make him even sharper. So at plus 100, I think it's a way to kind of take Kelleher's best win condition here, which could be a guillotine sub. It could be a knockout. He's a great finisher. So I think at plus 100, that's my best bet, but I don't have a bet on this fight yet.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with you guys both because I like the fight doesn't go to decision there at minus 180, kind of covering both sides there. You mentioned it. Brian Kelleher is a very good finisher, and Brian Kelleher has been finished like 7 times in his career. Same thing with Croom. Croom's a really good finisher himself, and Croom's been finished a lot as well. I don't have the exact numbers up there, but I think they've been finished a combined like 14 times, which is pretty crazy there. So, both guys can finish, both guys can be finished. And on top of that, Croom coming in on a couple days notice. We saw in his last fight that when he was not able to get Caceres out of there, he gassed out bad. I think Croom, potentially could win early. He did it against Roosevelt Roberts, but if not, I see him gassing out and Kelleher finishing him late first, early second round there. So I do like the fight doesn't go kind of covers both sides. They're a little chalky, but I do like it a lot. Z, how about you? What do you like for this fight here?
First, I just want to shout out Davey Boy in the chat for his comment. Same thoughts as Wheezy. We'll be praying for you. I thought that was hilarious. And here I do have the same thoughts as Wheezy, perhaps with a little bit more conviction because I have already bet Kelleher inside the distance. One of my favorite angles overall, and especially last year, was turning big favorites into plus money plays by taking them to finish. So that way you're getting the plus money, but you're not betting on a bad fighter or a close fight necessarily. So yeah, I think Kelleher is just miles better than Croom here. I don't think Croom's really at this level. And I really like what Wheezy was saying about how many times Croom's been finished and how potent a finisher Kelleher is. And, last time out, I took Kelleher's money line, but it wasn't this crazy. It was much more playable. I think I got it around minus 160, 170. And lucky for me, he went on to win a decision there. But this time, like you guys were saying, because of the gas tank issues Croom has, I just think Kelleher rolls and possibly submits him, maybe knocks him out. But yeah, give me Kelleher inside the distance. I got 1 unit on that at plus 100.
I like it. Yeah, I think we're getting a line like that because we did see Kelleher go to decision in his last fight, but I would honestly be shocked if the same thing happened here, just due to the Croom side and him coming in on short notice. But we'll move on to the next fight. We have Remis Brahimage going against Mcgee. I will let you kick this one off. Z, what do you like in this fight here?
Yeah, sure. I've heard the argument for Mcgee, and another handicapper who I have a ton of respect for, Luke at Sparring with Reality, has made a very strong case for Mcgee, which, I honestly, I concede to him. Court's got cardio. He's got more experience. He is a grinder. However, when I saw the opportunity to fade Mcgee at plus money with somebody who's 8 years younger, I took the shot. Again, 1 unit at plus 100 on Remis Brahima's money line. Just ties into too many long-term angles that I want to play. And honestly, this might be a hot take, but I don't think Remis needs to grapple in this fight. I know he's won all his fights by submission, but I don't think he's terrible on the feet. I think that's really being overblown because of his debut, or that narrative, I should say. I think he's made big improvements from his time on the regional scene. He moves pretty well. Good left hook, good right hand, good high guard. So give me the much younger, faster, more powerful fighter. At even money, I thought it was okay. I don't know if I'd pay any minus money for him, considering those gas tank issues. It is a concern, and I won't be shocked to lose this bet. But once again, a fighter who's 8 years younger to fade Mcgee, I'll take it at plus money.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I know you got it at plus money. You did a great job beating the line there. So you said,
it's a curse. There's no closing line value. It's the CLC.
No, I
it's
know.
The closing line curse.
Trust me, I know. Is there any way you'd play Remis, or would you just do it straight if anything?
What? If honestly, if you want to get crazy, I think, yeah, look at that. His knockout there is 9-1, and I know it.
Wow.
That's a really crazy take. That's why I didn't bet that myself. I just have the money line, but I can see him rocking Mcgee. I know he's never been finished or finished once in his career, but if you go and watch that Claudio Silva fight, he's getting dinged by Claudio Silva in the third round, and Silva's another late 30s fighter with worse gas tank issues than Remis. So I just, much respect to Mcgee. He's one of those workman style fighters, and he's been in the UFC a long time. He has a great story, but he's getting real rickety nowadays, and he's getting dinged a lot. So yeah, I would say take a small flyer on Remis by knockout, but full disclosure, that's not something I have any money on myself.
I like it. Yeah, we have the old veteran going against the young up-and-comer Brahimage. Wheezy, what do you think about this fight here?
Yeah, I've got to bet a half unit on Mcgee by decision, plus 200. I got it earlier in the week on FanDuel, but it's currently plus 190, so you can get it almost right there. Brahimage has never won a decision in his career, and this would be the first one he would ever win. And he'd have to do it, I think, winning a striking battle here, because we've just got such a huge sample size of Mcgee fights. His takedown defense sits right around 70%, which is not fantastic, not bad, but his get-up game has always been amazing, and he's fought better grapplers than Remis, legit black belts, I just don't see Remis getting the better of this guy on the ground. I don't even see him, if he does get a takedown, I don't see him really controlling him down there. Like Z said, I think he'll have to win a striking battle. And what I think the problem is there is we've got a limited sample size of watching Remis strike in the UFC, but he got seriously outvolumed by Max Griffin in his debut when he shot 0 takedowns and really showed some very poor fight IQ, in my opinion. So Court Mcgee is a guy who, over a 19 fight sample size in the UFC, has been out-voluming guys at an alarming pace. So if Brahimage is getting out-volumed by Max Griffin, he'll probably get out-volumed by Court Mcgee, which means that I don't see a high likelihood of Remis winning this on the ground or on the feet. Although a lot of money is coming in on Remis, I just think the best win condition here for Court is decision win. He's not much of a finisher, and Remis really hasn't been finished. If his ear hadn't have been torn off, Griffin wasn't close to finishing him. So I think that Court by decision is some nice value here currently at plus 190 on FanDuel.
If I can just jump in, could I just jump in, Brady?
Good.
Because the problem with going off the debut, at least this is my perspective, right? For Remis is, let's be real, that was his debut. Max Griffin's a very fast, fleet of foot fighter, and Max Griffin kicked him in the nuts, not once, but twice, very hard. So I think that really took a lot of the steam out of him. And also, if you're betting the decision, I would just worry that Remis death gasses and gets put in a bad spot and actually gets TKO'd late. So if I was to bet Court, if I was on that side, I would personally just opt for the money line. But much respect to you, Weezy.
Yeah, it could be round 3 decision could be a way to get even more value and take off that risk of Remis death gassing, which is obviously a possibility, because if Remis isn't getting the better on the feet, he's going to have to wrestle. So if he has to wrestle and he's not doing that successfully for the first 2 rounds, that's a really good call, Z. And probably round 3 or decision, I think that's available on FanDuel. That'd be a really good look.
Yeah, that's good middle ground.
I think I saw that around or plus 145, plus 155 around there. But
I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Weezy. I did take a different route, though. I really liked the Mcgee by decision at plus 200. But what I did was I did the decision only, which was minus 150 for Court Mcgee. This means that if Court Mcgee wins by decision, the bet hits. If Brahimage wins by decision, the bet loses. And if there is a finish in this fight in any type of way the bet pushes, you get your money back. The reason I like that a lot is because, I feel like if this does go the distance, I really like Court Mcgee to win it. Brahimage has only been out of the first round 4 times. He has won one of those fights. He is 0-2 in decisions as well. And like Z said, I think the gas tank is very questionable. From what I've seen outside of the first round of Brahimage has not been great. Like even in the Max Griffin fight, he did not choose to wrestle in that fight for some reason. I did not like what I saw, but especially in fights where he's wrestling early, he does seem to slow down a lot. The volume kind of drops off a cliff. So yeah, I like Court Mcgee here quite a bit. It's just Brahimage is very, very dangerous. I really like this guy a lot. A 100% finish rate. This guy is a phenom on the mat. He's very powerful on the feet as well. So I think he could potentially finish Court Mcgee. He is the much younger guy. He is very powerful. He is a legit grappler. I just think if he does not finish him early, I feel like Court Mcgee can take over, win rounds 2 and rounds 3. So I like that decision only. I got it at minus 150, but it's minus 135 now. Looks like a lot of people are putting some money on Brahimage by decision, which, to be honest, doesn't make much sense to me. It's never happened before, but if it does, I'll definitely take my L there. So give me the decision only for Court Mcgee there. And I also like Weezy's prop at plus 190. Eric, how about you? Are you on the Court Mcgee side or the Brahimage side?
I actually do have a bet on this fight. I ended up betting Court's money line at plus 110. I went into the tape study here expecting that I was going to like Brahimage in this spot. But after finishing the tape study, I ended up feeling some of these things have already been said. But it's hard to see Brahimage submitting Court. Could it happen? Sure. I mean, Court's 37. There's a lot of fight miles on that body. We could see Court fall off a cliff any day. He could just lose a step, lose a lot of steps. But I have a hard time seeing Brahimage finding the submission. I have a hard time seeing Brahimage out wrestling Court. And so that has me thinking like, okay, well, if the fight plays out on the feet, Brahimage doesn't tend to put out a lot of volume. So I think if it plays out on the feet, I do think the fight will probably be close, but I ended up liking a shot at Court. So I've got, I think, 2 units on Court at plus 110.
There you go. I mean, yeah, you got the best line possible. So I see plus 108 best line. So you did a good job there. Yeah. Kind of waiting for the line. I wish I would have kind of did that. But yeah, Court Mcgee is now plus 100 on BetOnline, plus 108 on FanDuel. We'll move on to the next fight. We have Jamie Pickett going against Joseph Holmes. Weezy, I'm curious. Do you like anything on this fight?
Yeah, I like a break to the bathroom, maybe take a shower, maybe go out get some food. This is a 1-800 gambler fight for me. For me, you can't trust either one of these guys with your money. Um, and for anybody who thinks I'm wrong about that, I would love to have seen what your face would have looked like when you thought, Jamie Pickett was going to dust Jordan Wright, and then you talked a whole bunch of shit online about Jordan Wright saying he could get knocked out by a hot shower. And then your boy goes out there and gets starched inside of 60 seconds by the Beverly Hills Ninja. If that doesn't leave a lasting impression upon you and scar your soul away from ever betting this guy again, you've got a very short memory and you've got ice water in your veins. I don't have that. I can't bet Jamie Pickett here, but I'm not betting Holmes. I'm not laying minus 150 on a debutante with half the experience that Pickett. And you could make an argument that this guy Holmes isn't really better than Pickett anywhere. I see what people are saying, when they say that there's value on Jamie Pickett here at the money line. I understand where you're coming from. I think, they're very similar fighters with similar skill sets, and the value is on one fighter. But, after watching that Staropoli fight, I could just see this being a really ugly hugging battle on the cage. And I think fight goes to decision at plus 120 on FanDuel has some value here. That's the only way that I would touch this fight, because you can't trust either one of these guys with your money, in my opinion. So that's how I would go.
Yep. I'll keep this short. I have no bet on this fight, but if I was to bet it, it probably would be Jamie Pickett. What stuck out to me the most is going to be the experience and the level of competition. Pickett has fought actual legit guys, whereas Joseph Holmes, his toughest opponent was probably, Jonathan Patty, who Jamie Pickett did finish. This line really doesn't make much sense, but it's just so hard to, put a bet down on Jamie Pickett. So I'm with you, Easy. I'm going to pass here, but if I was forced to make a play, it probably would be on that plus money on Jamie Pickett, plus 136. Z, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
I echo your sentiments. The only thing I would change is if I was forced to make a bet on this fight, it would be Holmes inside the distance at plus 150 or 60 now. I'm not exactly sure where it is right now. Oh, you got it right there. Yeah, plus 150 on Holmes inside the distance. But again, this is one of those times where I think we can just sit back, let this guy make his debut against somebody who's already tested in the UFC. But again, I'm not very high on Pickett, so I don't really want to trust him to get the win here. But again, I can understand your point taking the plus money on the money line, or I would just rather take Holmes to finish. But again, I'm happy to sit back on this fight and let him make his debut.
Yep, Holmes does have a 100% finish rate, so that you have that going for you for sure. Eric, how about you? What do you like into this fight?
Yeah, this is the fight that's testing me the most, as far as, like, I know the idea of the show is to find a bet on each fight. I was having a hard time getting myself to care about this matchup enough to even finish the tape study. And as far as finding a bet, I don't really like anything here. I can understand people thinking that, maybe you could bet Pickett, add a little bit of plus money just because he's at least UFC tested. I don't want to put any money on Pickett here. So since I have to pick a bet, I wouldn't probably play this. It probably doesn't hit, but I don't know. Holmes has won. He's finished his last 4 wins, and 3 of those were by rear naked choke, and you can get Holmes by sub at like plus 250. So since I have to pick one, let's go Holmes by sub plus 250.
Holmes by sub plus 250. There you go. Weezy, I'm surprised you didn't pull out the draw on this one. What happened?
Yeah, dude, I'm saving those draw bets, man, because I'm telling you, dude, one of these weeks it's gonna hit, and it's gonna be like carried out of the stadium on the shoulders of my teammates. I mean, when I hit that draw bet, it's gonna be huge. I just don't think it's this fight, but maybe that's not the worst look now that you mention it. It hadn't entered my head, but maybe neither one of these guys is good enough to win this fight. Draw plus 6,600. Let's go.
I like it. I like it. There we go. All right, we'll move on to the next fight here. We have a very exciting one. We have Joe Anderson. By the way, we're already on to the main card after breaking down 4 fights, but we're on the main card. Joe Anderson, Brito going against Bill Algeo. Z, I'll let you kick this one off. What do you like in here?
Yeah, sure. I like the fight doesn't go the distance. It's one I played myself. I think I got it at plus 105, but it might be a little bit different. No, it is at 105. That's where I bet that. And I also don't mind a live bet entry on Bill Algeo after round 1, because I know Brito has a lot of hype coming in here, and he looks the part. He swings big punches. He's got strong takedowns, and Algeo has pretty much no takedown defense. So I do see Brito getting takedowns early, but I have some serious questions about his gas tank. I mean, some people seem to be writing that off, but he looked really tired in his Contender Series fight. And that was a fight where he was pretty much, he was able to get those takedowns and just sitting guard. Algio's a guy who's going to make you work for every inch. He's going to be throwing elbows. He's going to be putting feet on hips. He's got cardio. So there you go. Yeah, I think one way or the other, this fight's going to end, be it Brito early or Algio late. And I also think we're going to get perhaps a crazy number on Algio after round 1 or maybe round 2, but sometimes it's risky to wait till round 2. So I will be looking to target Algio live, but Brito could come in here and nuke him in the first. I wouldn't put it past him, but then again, Algio is pretty durable. So money line perspective, I would say Algio, dog or pass, but the bet I have is the doesn't go.
Yeah, I was really close to placing a bet on Brito, but I kind of saw the same things you're doing because the gas tank, it's kind of a question mark to me because in some fights, Brito's gas tank looks good late, but there's some fights where it looks really bad. And the thing with Algio is, yes, his takedown defense is horrible, but the dude's get-up game is absolutely elite. I feel like he's going to make Brito work and work quite a bit. So I kind of am seeing it the same way. The prop that I'm going to go with is going to be Algio to win in round 3. I feel like Brito's going to have a lot of success early. If he does not get him out of there, I think it's going to get very, very sketchy late because Algio, we know that, again, his get-up game is really good. He puts on a very hectic pace, lots of volume, and his cardio is great as well. So I'm going to take Algio round 3 plus 1,600. I saw Narco in the chat. Narco in the chat is saying this could be a potential draw. Maybe it could be. But Wheezy, what do you like over this fight here?
Yeah, I don't have a bet on this fight. I'm really excited to watch this fight. Both of these guys are super fun to watch, but I think actually this fight is going to go to decision. We saw Brito go to his wrestling against Lopez, and that wasn't really entirely predictable in that situation with Lopez being such a credentialed BJJ guy. And I could see the same thing happening here with Joe Anderson saying, you know what, this guy Algio couldn't stop a takedown if his life depended on it. So maybe I'm going to try to win minutes on the ground, get on top, and rest. I like the decision props on both of these guys. I think they're both pretty juicy. Algio by decision plus 310 on FanDuel, and Brito by decision is plus 275 on DraftKings. Both of those are juicy enough for me. I'd personally pick Algio here because the gas tank I think is going to be one of the biggest deals here, and you can hedge that decision bet with that Algio round 3 at like what, plus 1,400, Brady? That's a nice look too. So, but yeah, I'm leaning Algio here, and I think Algio at this by decision at plus 310 is all right. But I don't have a bet on this one. I'm just going to watch this one.
Yep, sounds good to me. And then Eric, how about you? What do you like over this fight?
I echo a lot of the sentiments that we've already heard as far as the read that Brito is going to be most dangerous early and Algio likely most dangerous late. Little bit of a hot take here, maybe. I did sprinkle 0.2 units on Brito to finish in round 1 at plus 1150. I'm not riding on that. That was just kind of a fun little, hey, we're starting off the new year sprinkle. But I will definitely be keeping a close eye on the live line here too, because I do expect that we could see Brito fade down the line and we could see Algio start to take over. So I'm going to have my finger on that live bet button during this fight for sure.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I think this is one of the most exciting fights on the card. Not the most exciting, but one of the most. Another exciting fight, Dakota Bush. We have Borshev here. We'll let you kick it off. Wheezy, what do you like over this fight?
All right, I got a little bit of a hot take here in terms of the analytics that I've been compiling over the last couple of weeks here. And the fight goes to decision right now is plus 162 on FanDuel. Lightweight fights finish at approximately a 50% rate since 2013 in the UFC. Here you get an implied probability of around 39% for something that's around 50%. That's some nice value. And then you're going to add in the fact that in these guys' 4 combined pro losses, none of them have been finishes, and there is some nice value in this line. So neither of these guys has ever been finished. You're getting about an 11% edge over what these fights normally finish at. And then not only that, I think that Bush is just going to be at such a deficiency here striking that he's going to wind up really closing the distance. A lot of this fight could take place on the cage at plus 162. I think it's really juicy, and I think it's definitely worth a long look here. But I got to tell you, Everybody else is on this fight finishing inside the distance. This is just an analytics play. I think there's just too much heat on this fight finishing inside the distance, and I think it's given us some value the other way.
No, I definitely get it. I mean, I went to the tape and I thought, yeah, I was going to be betting violence here. I looked at the line. I was like, what? It's minus 185. Two guys that never been finished before. I think it does finish personally, but I do like that look at plus 162. I just hate the line on the fight doesn't go. But, the thing I'm going to be looking at here is going to be Bush to win by submission plus 650. I just feel like this line's a little bit off. I feel like Bush, if he's able to get this fight down to the mat, there will be opportunities. Borshchev, his takedown defense is pretty questionable. He gets taken down a lot, and Bush is a very solid grappler. And I feel like early on, at least, Bush is going to have his opportunities. Like even Bush by submission in round one could be interesting. I see Bush round one is plus 900. Bush by submission in round one, I don't even see it, but it's probably really juicy. I kind of look at that for this fight. But I'll take that Bush prop there, plus 650. I think he has an opportunity here. Z, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
I don't have any money on the fight. I really rate Borshchev striking very highly. I saw some value on his Contender Series fight as a dog, and I also saw some value on the under 2.5 in that fight, so that was a good one for me. But here it's tough because I feel like Bush is a much sterner test than Duncan was, and now the line is flipped and even pushed a little further. So to me, I think the value side is Bush. I don't hate this submission bet, but if I was going to do it, it would just be on the money line at around plus 160. Bush had a really stern, really tough debut against Austin Hubbard, who might not be the best fighter, but I think Hubbard's going to be in the UFC for a long time. Just a really good foundation as a fighter, in my opinion. And you say Borshchev doesn't have great takedown defense, but I kind of push back on that narrative a little bit because his initial takedown defense, his initial sprawl is pretty good in my opinion, and he's been able to get up in a lot of fights. So working with Team Alpha Male on his weaknesses, I think he is shoring up those holes in his game. And considering how high level the striking is, he's very formidable on the feet. Like he's doing everything you want to see, striking in combination, laying traps, setting stuff up. Perfect hand position. I mean, the guy's a serious veteran striker. So I haven't done it, but I just find it odd that he's now facing a tougher test and the line is flipped. I think we might be seeing a little bit of that recency bias and people who either cashed on Borshchev pushing this line or people who lost on Duncan pushing this line. But yeah, for a prediction, I'm still going to go with Vacheslav, but from a betting perspective, I think this is dog or pass. It's just whether or not you want to try to fade that wrestling angle on Borshchev. And for me, I just haven't.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype on Borshchev. I think like on Tapology, almost 90% of people are picking him. So yeah, lots of hype on it, and rightfully so. This guy's a beast, and obviously a great personality. He does that little dance as well that people like. So yeah, I definitely get the hype. We'll see what happens here in this fight. Eric, how about you? What do you like in this fight here?
Yeah, I had a hard time picking a side in this fight. I mean, we can see it as kind of a binary breakdown. Like each guy brings a style that the other can be pretty susceptible to. I think I kind of lean Borshchev to find the knockout, but if I was going to bet it, I really liked hearing Wheezy's sort of stat-based bet on betting this to go to decision or betting the over. I was actually taking a look at the under here. I haven't bet it, but that's kind of what I was looking at if I was going to bet something here. And I also don't mind the Bush by sub prop. But yeah, I didn't put anything on this fight. This is just kind of sit back and watch it play out fight for me. But I think if I had to pick a winner, I lean Slava.
Slava, yeah, I'm with you there. And yeah, I think this fight finishes as well. I just don't love the line, to be honest. But we'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have the people's main event, Katlyn Chookagian going against Jennifer Maia. And yeah, the most popular play, it looks like, this week is going to be some Katlyn Chookagian and then some Katlyn Chookagian by decision. Eric, are you liking Katlyn Chookagian by decision?
Yeah, I actually I do have a bet on Katlyn here. I actually ended up betting her money line when she was at minus 155. Nice. I think that's up to like minus 190 here or something like that. But yeah, if you were going to bet her now, last I looked, I think by decision was like minus 150 or something. And, I would still feel pretty comfortable with that. I mean, obviously we've seen this fight play out before. And after watching the tape, I didn't see much of a reason to think that it plays out much differently this time. I have seen a few people mentioning that Maia could come out with a wrestling heavy game plan, but that's one of those, you want to bet on what a fighter is likely to do, not what a fighter might be capable of doing. And, could Maya do that? Maybe, but I don't think we're going to see that. And I'm not even convinced necessarily that even if Maya did come out with that wrestling heavy game plan, I'm not convinced that she can hold Chikadze down anyway. So I think this fight plays out on the feet. I think Chikadze throws a lot of strikes and a lot of key eyes and looks good and sounds good to the judges. And yeah, I think she's going to take a decision here.
Sounds good to me. I have a bet on Chikadze as well. I have a bet on Chikadze by decision, and that's probably the best prop bet I'd go to. But, I got to admit, like, this money line is getting kind of ridiculous. Minus 230 for Katlyn Chookagian on Bet Online here. And I think that would make her, like, this is the biggest favorite she's ever been. I think prior to that, she was a big favorite against, I forget who it was against, but she's like minus 120 or minus 220. So, yeah, minus 230 in a Katlyn Chookagian fight scares me a little bit, but I think she has the tools to win here. If Jennifer Maia fought smart for the first time in her career, I think she'd be very live. The problem is she refuses to fight smart and go for takedowns. If she does not go for takedowns, she's going to get, clearly outclassed by the bigger Katlyn Chookagian, the better striker, better striking defense. So, Katlyn Chookagian by decision, I think is much better than the minus 230 it's at now. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. But yeah, Katlyn Chookagian by decision is a very popular play, and I definitely do see why this week. Z, how about you? Are you on the Katlyn Chookagian decision?
I like what Hype MMA said there. The mute button's got to be an option for this one. But yeah, I mean, I'm not on it. And personally, I can't stand betting by decision. It probably hurts me long term, but like, there's just something about betting a fighter to win by decision, and then they go out there and get a finish, and you end up losing that ticket. It just doesn't sit well with me, so I don't target those spots. So for me, it's just going to be Chook's money line. But again, I didn't bet it. I'm just saying that's the best bet for the purposes of this show. It looks to me like it's a rinse and repeat. We've seen the fight before. Maya hasn't shown me that she can do anything different. Yeah, she got on top of Shevchenko for a round, but I think Chookagian coasts to another 29-28, maybe 30-27. Maybe the judges are mixed between those two scores, but it looks like a unanimous classic Chookagian striking-based decision for me. The only thing I could think of is now this is in the small cage, so Maya might have an easier time corralling her. But again, you can't really trust Maya to go for those takedowns because she hasn't proven that she will in the UFC. So yeah, pretty simple, nothing exciting there. Again, I don't have any money on the fight, but if I had to, I would just bet Chook's money line.
Sounds good to me. Weezy, any hot takes for this one?
Yeah, not really, man. I saw what Mbe was saying in the chat there. Like, how is everybody going to say that, you got to bet Chookagian when this is going to be so close anyway? And that value, it really is on the Maya decision line here. But, when you look at the analytics, we got like a 13 fight sample size here for Chookagian. She's only completed 3 takedowns. She only has 7% control time over those 13 fights. She's very aware of the fighter that she is and where she's at her best. And then on the other side, you got Jennifer Maia, who we've already seen fight Katlyn once, and she's going to need to learn from that performance. The only round that she won was the one where she really committed to a takedown attempt, and she got it. And won a round by completing the last 90 seconds of that round on top. The problem is, and one of the things that I'm trying to avoid in 2022 is saying, if fighter A does this, they're going to have a good chance to win. Well, what's the probability that Jennifer Maia is going to wrestle when in a 7-fight UFC sample size, she's only attempted 4 takedowns? It's just a little over a 50% chance in every fight that she's even going to try a takedown, much less get one. Then it's a much lower chance. So yeah, I can't count on Jennifer to wrestle here. She's only accumulated less than 17% control time. Like 1/6 of Jennifer Maia's fights is she controlling the position. It's not enough to beat Katlyn on the feet and close that 4-inch reach advantage, that 5-inch height advantage, all the pew-pew sounds when Katlyn's striking. I think Katlyn wins a decision here, and minus 120 for the decision prop is how I got to go, because Katlyn has 9 UFC wins and they're all by decision, and Jennifer has 3 UFC losses and they're all by decision. So yeah, Chookagian by decision.
Sounds good to me. It looks like we're all on the same page here. We'll move on to, this is probably my favorite fight outside of the main event. We have Brandon Royval going against Rogerio Bontorin. We'll start with you, Z. What do you like for this fight here?
Well, I've got two screens up right now. One is this podcast, of course, and the other is the odds on Bontorin and Royval, because I'm waiting. I hope Royval touches minus 150. It's 155 now. I might go anyways. I hope the listeners here don't go to Bet Online and steam that up for me. But yeah, I think Royval is going to handle him. He's way bigger. He's got tons of volume and pressure. He can dig to the body. Bontorin is like compact, strong, good if he takes the back, but honestly, I see Royval running over him on the feet here, en route to a finish. But if not, I think he's going to win the decision again with that volume. Even if he gives up a round, if Bontorin gets his back in the first or second, maybe he's going to drop a round. But overall, I just think the chaotic nature is going to overwhelm Bontorin and really test that gas tank of his. So, and especially the gas tank of his having made 125 once again. You guys know he missed weight at 135 last time out. So, it's probably a very rough cut for him. And I don't think you want to go into a Brandon Royval fight if you don't have gas in the tank. Brandon Royval was making Pantoja, look pretty weary before Pantoja got the back and subbed him. So, of course, Bontorin could lock it up and submit him, but I don't think he's as good as Pantoja. Pantoja, in my opinion, is one of the best grapplers in the UFC. Might be a hot take, but some of the transitions he's done just blow me away. So, yeah, I've also seen people bet the under 2.5 or the doesn't go. I think those are viable as well, but for me, I'm looking to target Royval's money line, just hoping to get the minus 150. And as of right now, I don't have any money on it. But yeah, Royval's money line is the bet for the purposes of this show.
There we go. I like it. Eric, how about you? What are you liking for this fight here?
I've got a lot of the same reads that Z does. I'm gonna get a little crazy and talk about the flip side of the coin a little bit. I mean, we're gonna see Royval come out with that crazy kind of Tasmanian devil style that we see, and I do think that Royval potentially with that pressure and that craziness could overwhelm Bontorin and take over the fight that way. But I would also like to offer the possibility that Bontorin is going to look to counter, and that Royval is going to be opening himself up with the craziness that he likes to have. I mean, he is pretty hittable. Bontorin stays, he doesn't throw a ton. It's like he stays kind of measured. He picks his shots. He throws big shots. I think it's potentially live for Bontorin to find a big counter here. I'm not betting it. I didn't bet this fight at all. I think if I was going to bet it, I would potentially look at the under 2.5. I kind of think we do see a finish here. It's a little risky, of course, to be betting the unders on these smaller fighters. So, but that's one thing I would look at. But last I looked, Bontorin by KO was plus 650, and Bontorin inside the distance was plus 300. Not saying I'm playing either of those, but I just thought those were a couple interesting props to look at here.
Yeah, Bontorin by KO is plus 800. It makes sense. Like Royval is very, very hittable. I think he has like a 46% strike and defense. But Bontorin's pretty hittable himself. He has a 43% strike and defense. But yeah, I'm more on the Z side here, and I don't mind the money line at all. But what I did instead was I took a Royval inside the distance. It's sitting at around plus 105. The reason being is this guy has a 92% finish rate. He's only won one decision in his career. And I just think he's going to break Bontorin. I think his pace, his cardio is something that a lot of people are not going to be able to keep up with. And especially a guy like Bontorin who does, really struggle to get down to 125. I don't know if his cardio is going to be able to hold up and keep up with the pace of Brandon Royval. So I do see a late finish for Royval here. And I'm going to take Royval to win inside the distance at plus 105. I think this fight does finish, but to be honest, I'm not in love with the fight doesn't go at minus 210. But give me Royval at plus money here inside the distance. Wheezy, what do you like for this one here?
Yeah, not much, dude. I don't have a bet on this fight, and I wouldn't bet this with your money, actually. Royval is just so chaotic. It's kind of hard to get a read on his fights. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? It's like you put a tornado in a jar and you say, well, which one of the ants is going to survive? It's really, really hard to predict these kind of fights. There's so many different outcomes. Royval hits hard and he gets hit hard. He's aggressive on the ground and gets submissions, but he also makes huge mistakes and gets submitted. And then you see that you've got to figure at some point this kid is going to slow down a little bit and start being a little more deliberate with the way he goes about things. We know that flyweight fights finish at a 42% rate over like a 9-year sample size, you guys. So when you're paying minus 200, minus 250 on a fight doesn't go to decision for a flyweight fight, it's a big stretch. I don't think there's a lot of value on that. So I'm going to actually sprinkle. Well, I'm not going to. I'm going to say, for the purposes of this show, Bontorin by decision is interesting because, I mean, Royval couldn't stop a takedown if his life depended on it. He's probably got some of the worst takedown defense since, I'd say, Carlos Condit, honestly. And Bontorin could potentially win a ton of minutes on the ground and really slow this fight down if he's not comfortable with the pace. And as many openings as Royval leaves to be taken down when he strikes, when he gets out over his feet and he's just so reckless, I could see, Bontorin slowing this down, winning a bunch of minutes on the ground, grinding out a decision, plus 420 for Rogerio Bontorin by decision. Gotta love that number. And I think it's, an interesting fat line there that you might want to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a definitely a juice. If you bet it though, like you'd be sweating the entire fight. It's gonna be a crazy fight. But yeah, I feel like Bontorin possibly can win minutes here, right?
I mean, yeah, look at the takedown defense for Royval. It's not good, man. I mean, Royval's takedown defense is 52%, and when you go pre-UFC, I mean, like, watch the fight against oh Christ, what was the one he lost the LFA title to Casey Kenny? Casey Kenny took him down every single time he shot, and it was easy. So yeah, Royval doesn't stop takedowns ever, and Bontorin gets his at almost a 50% rate, and he's controlling his opponents about 20% of his UFC career. So if he wants to slow this down, I think Brandon will give him opportunities to do that using the grappling and the wrestling.
It's possible. We'll see if he can keep up with the pace there. But we have the co-main event, Chase Sherman going against Jake Collier. Eric, I was talking to you about this last night on my stream about if this could possibly be the worst co-main event, but you actually gave me an even worse co-main event. I forget what you said. Who was the worst co-main event than this?
Oh, well, we were reaching way back, but Tyrone Roberts versus David Dodd at UFC 26 was the one I figured out. But if we go back to those days, there's probably quite a few.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't even think I was alive for UFC 26.
I was there in person.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. But what do you like for this fight, Eric?
What do I like for this fight? Nothing, frankly. But yeah, if I had to pick a side here, I guess I kind of like Chase Sherman to win by decision. Or excuse me, Jake Collier, not Sherman. Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, Sherman is, I've heard arguments that Sherman is live for a knockout here. Maybe. I personally don't think he finds it. I think it probably goes the distance. I think Collier probably, tries to keep it tight and just kind of wins on volume. Last I looked, the fight to go the distance was at minus 155. I'm not sure what Collier by decision is. I'm guessing Collier by decision is probably not much better than just betting his money line, because how else is he going to win? But yeah, I don't have a bet here. I didn't have a lot of interest in this fight.
I feel like it could go, one of two ways. I feel like it's either going to be a Collier decision or a Sherman knockout, and I'm kind of leaning more towards the Sherman knockout, and it's plus 310, which is actually very interesting considering that Sherman has a 94% finish rate. He's finished all but one of his wins, and I do question the durability of Jake Collier. He's been knocked out 3 times, 1 at heavyweight, I think 2 at middleweight, and Chase Sherman does hit very hard. So I think there's a lot of value on this line. Like in a fight where I feel like this should probably be a pick'em, Chase Sherman by KO, his win condition at plus 310 just really doesn't make much sense to me. So I'll go Sherman by KO plus 310, but I do agree that if you are on the Collier side, decision is definitely something to look at. So Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, I've got Sherman over Fat Collier as my ass shaving of the week here, plus 310 by KO. If you could just put on 80 pounds of fat and then improve your KO power, I mean, like Quentin Rampage Jackson would be having a serious resurgence right now that would probably have us all just completely surprised, but that's not the case. You can't put on 80 pounds of fat like Fat Collier has and just expect that you're going to start knocking people out up here at this level when these guys are used to fighting people who do have that natural heavyweight power. I kind of look at this fight like Ike Villanueva versus Chase Sherman, because Villanueva is just kind of like a middleweight with nice, fast hands, good power in the pocket. And Collier is kind of like the same thing at this level. He's not going to get a takedown. I quipped on Stat Diggers that, Collier hasn't gotten a takedown since Brady was in high school. So I just don't see, Collier by decision or Sherman by knockout are the two most likely paths, in my opinion. I have my ass shaving of the week bet is Chase Sherman by KO plus 310 on FanDuel. Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's see if Chase Sherman walks out with some shaving cream and a razor. We'll know right then if he does, is going to shave some ass. Z, do you think Sherman shaves some ass here on the Collier side?
I'm on neither side here, but I hope Sherman gets those KO tickets for you, because the bet I took is, and this is, I'm playing a little bit like Wheezy here as a statistician, but heavyweight fights finish at like 65% and even slightly more in the smaller cage, and that's where we are. So I just have a 1 unit bet on the doesn't go at plus 120. It's at plus 125 now, and I can see the narrative, right? Like, I'm not sitting here making a stylistic case that a finish is likely. I'm really just playing the heavyweight finish rate, especially in the small cage, when the bookie's giving me plus 120. I like to make these doesn't go the distance bets when the bookie is the one who's very confident in the outcome, and they've predicted, and I say the bookie, I mean combination between the bookie and the market, of course, but it's the everyone else saying that this fight's likely to go the distance, and I can see the angle, but I just like playing the doesn't go at plus 120.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it does finish. So hopefully we both cash our bets there. But we'll move on to the main event. We have Calvin Kattar going against Giga Chikadze. We have about 9 minutes before these prelims kick off. We'll start with you, Z. What are you liking for this main event here?
Well, the first bet that I took was Giga inside the distance, and some people might, start screaming at me, "Oh, Calvin's the value side." And I will say, I don't think that fight is. Oh, there you found it. There you go, Brady. You're on the ball. I don't think the money line had any value. It was like minus 200 for quite a while, and in my opinion, it's like I can see that maybe being accurate, but probably not. And even if it's regardless, Giga's win equity is very finish reliant, in my opinion. We have seen this guy slow down, so I just figured I'd take a minus 230 or whatever he was and turn him into a plus 115 for the inside the distance. Stylistically, I could see him sticking Calvin on the outside, landing kicks to the body, punches down the middle, staying away, not giving him his range. It's going to be a little bit harder to do in the small cage. However, there is an alternate total available on Bet Online, and that is the under 4.5 rounds. And I got some money on that at minus 145, and then it moved. So I got it again at minus 110. So I have the biggest bet of the night for me is the under 4.5 in the main at average odds of minus 128. And I got to say, there's no certainties in this game, but I feel pretty good about that wager, because of course I'm hoping Giga gets it done early, but if he doesn't and he gasses and Kattar's still there pressuring into him, getting in his face, landing heavy hands and boxing combinations, I mean, I think one way or the other, this is going to end. And it's just a very strange situation when you see that the doesn't go the distance is like minus 190. And then I've got the under 4.5 at minus 128. Generally, I like to opt for the doesn't go the distance, but that differential is just too big to ignore. So yeah, give me the under 4.5. Again, it's on Bet Online. It's one of those, alternate props. So it's low limits. If you're a big unit player, it might not be for you, but I bet $100 per unit. So I was able to get 255 on that to win 200. And yeah, love it. But I hope it's Giga getting it done early with the liver kick. So I cashed both bets, but that's the one for me.
That's a weird line, minus 110. Like that's, like you mentioned, the fight doesn't go as minus 190. So yeah, I think that's a good look there. Wheezy, how about you? What are you liking for this main event here?
Yeah, this is the only one I didn't prepare a bet for when I was preparing for the show, because I thought something might stick out a little bit more, but it really hasn't. Earlier in the week, Brady, I know that you got that over 2.5 at a really reasonable line. I like it at like minus 175. It's available right now on Betway. I don't have that book, but that would probably be the way that I would play this. I just think that there are so many possible outcomes to this fight. I like Giga to win, but I do think that Calvin is incredibly difficult to finish. And I think it's going to take a minute for Kattar to get the timing and the distance of Giga before he lands anything big. So over 2.5 at like minus 190 on the books that you can actually get it at is probably how I would play this, but I don't have a bet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same round. I'm gonna go fight starts round 3, -205. You see that the over 2.5 rounds on Bet Online is -204. So I really do like the fight to start round 3 here. I was talking to Z before the stream started, and I told him that whenever I place an over bet or a fight goes to decision, I literally cannot watch the fight, and it could be like any fight. Like I remember Angela Hill, Tisha Torres. I bet the over in that fight, and I really couldn't watch that. So I'm probably not gonna watch the first half of this fight because I just can't. I don't know what it is, but these overs terrify me. These overs, they take years off my life. But I think this fight does get extended. I'm curious to see if it does get into round 4 and round 5, how Giga does look, because we have seen him slow down multiple times in the third round. He's never seen a fourth. So I do actually want to see this get extended to see how Giga does look late. But yeah, I just need the fight to start at least round 3. Both guys very tough, very durable in all their fights. Neither guy's been knocked out. I think this gets extended to hopefully at least the third round. Eric, how about you? What do you like for this fight?
I like that under 4.5 that Z mentioned. That was not a bet that I had seen, but I do have a Bet Online account. I might have to go take a look at that one when we're done here. I do lean Giga here. Obviously, you can't really touch him at that money line, but Giga to finish is a bet I don't mind. And I also don't mind, based on the read that if the fight goes long, that we could see Kattar start to take over. If you can bet Kattar in round 4, at last I looked, he was about plus 1,200, and Kattar in round 5 was about plus 1,600. So, if your read is that it's either Giga early or potentially Kattar late, I don't mind putting some sprinkle amounts on that round 4 and round 5 for Kattar to finish.
Yeah, Weezy,
Kattar's line is way better than that in round 4 and 5. It's
Yeah.
like plus 3,600 in round 5 and plus 2,900 in round 4.
I wonder if I was looking specifically at knockouts or something. I must have been looking at the wrong line.
I think you might even be looking at Chikadze, because it goes Kattar Chikadze, and they've got Kattar's name starting with a C.
I might have just looked at the wrong one.
They messed it up. So it's 2,600 for Kattar round 3, 2,900 for round 4, and 3,600 for round 5. That could be like the party at Wheezy's type of bet there.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely sprinkling those then at those numbers.
Oof.
Yeah, why not,
Right? Juicy, plus 3,600. We'll see if that happens there. But yeah, that's about it, guys. The prelim starting in about 3 minutes. I'll kick it over to the guys. Z, let them know where they can find you. I know you've been really busy lately kicking out all the content. Where can they find you, and what do you have going on throughout a typical MMA week?
Yeah, Z's MMA. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Twitter account. I have a website. I'm on Bet MMA Tips. Just a gambler out here, not claiming to be the best at this or have, I'm not claiming that I've won a bunch of money, but I'm out here trying to win a bunch of money. So, you guys can follow me there. I do some live streams where I actually watch tape and do the live streams, and those are a lot of fun. You get to react to some low-level fights, and you can kind of put that on in the background and just see what I'm seeing. So, just come check me out. But that's all I got going on.
Awesome. Go check out Z. He's a great guy. Thank you, Z, for coming on. Eric, another great guy. You made your debut. I thought you did phenomenal. Looking forward to continuing having you on here. Let everybody know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout a typical MMA week.
Yeah, thanks, Brady. I appreciate it. You can find me at Eric Betts Fights on Twitter. Also, Eric Betts Fights on YouTube. I'm doing a few different things there. I'm doing betting related content, of course, but I'm also trying to do some just kind of fun MMA related videos, like some MMA trivia, some storytelling. I've got a video that I'm working on right now that's just going to be kind of a parody comedy kind of thing. So a lot of these guys you follow because they're excellent gamblers and you're following them for their expert advice. I see me as like, if you're following my journey, it's more so you're following a crusty old MMA fan who's like trying to learn to get better at this MMA betting stuff. So don't follow me for any expert advice. Follow me for like, hey, let's see how this goes for Eric kind of thing.
I like it. Yeah, go check out Eric. Looking forward to seeing what he does. And then we have Uncle Weezy as well. Like I said, everybody's favorite uncle. Uncle Weezy, what do you have going on throughout the week? And then where can they find you?
You can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday for Stat Diggers, every Tuesday for the DFS show. And then you can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. I do balls deep breakdowns of fights. I do a full card breakdown every Tuesday night, 10 Central Time, called Just the Tip. I am like 5 subscribers away from 1,000. So thank you for everybody that's been liking my videos, for subscribing to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Brady. And let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for this first UFC event of the year. I can't wait to make some money.
Let's do it. Yeah, there's 185 of you in here. Weezy needs 5 subscribers. Go help him out. Let's get into 1,000 there. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Good luck, everybody. Thank you for hanging out as always. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. And good luck for the very first card of the year, UFC Vegas 46, Chikadze going against